What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debates. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
And I am Tom, the OG Fig Kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. And we have a special guest on today from the Coming Down the Aisle podcast. We have John SOILEAU. John, how's it going, man?
Man, thank you guys for allowing me to come on. I didn't mention this before. So if you're the staple, can I be like the paperclip?
Sure.
Or maybe we could be a tag team. You know, the office products.
There we go.
I love it.
Here comes the staple and the paperclip.
Here comes the staple. Here comes the paperclip.
The new demolition. I love it. We might as well just end the show now. I don't even know if we're gonna top that. No.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, the OG Fig Kid.
You can find me at your nearest comedy club. But thanks.
I'll be here all week. Thank you.
John, tell our listeners a little bit about Coming Down the Aisle.
Yeah, so it's just a little passion project of mine I started. Of course, I've been a podcast fan going back 10 years, started with the Art of Wrestling, Colt Cabana, just dived in podcasts, which really caused my fandom to like really grow. So, but I said, I'm going to start something. And I kind of wanted to do it, kind of a mixture of allowing fans to come on and give them their opinion and just have some interesting guests. But I also have, like, a lot of times I'll have my fiance on. Awesome. She doesn't get wrestling at all. She's great. We watched a casket match one time together, and she's just like, what is happening? And got my brother. I'm trying to see if I can convince Mother's Day coming up. I'm just trying to see if I can convince my mom to come on the show.
Oh, so that'd be great.
Awesome. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But I got some great guests lined up next week. I got WrestleBotch, the guy who runs nice. WrestleBotch cool. IG on IG coming on. So, but it's just a mixture, and we talk about wrestling news and figure news and all that good stuff. So,
very cool.
That's awesome, man. Well, you've come on to the debate show, so we have 3 topics that we'll debate. We'll go probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes on each one. Everybody will go around round table, give their opinion. And you brought a topic to the table as well, so we'll get into your topic. We'll sandwich it in the middle of the debates. But if you guys are ready, we'll jump right in and get going with our topics.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. All right. So our first topic of the evening is, are managers used right in pro wrestling today?
I mean, I guess that depends on which promotion you're watching.
I was going to say the same thing.
Right.
Which company are we talking about?
Yeah. I believe WWE has totally forgotten about managers and how to use them correctly.
Yep.
If their name is Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Or MVP.
Yeah.
MVP's not bad either, actually. He's shined in this role, actually, in a little dim spot for WWE. He's been one of the more enjoyable things on the show. But
I think he's brought something to Bobby. For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, he helped the entire Hurt business, even when he had Shelton Benjamin in there and
Cedric.
Yeah, like he brought them up another level. And without that, when you have a good manager, you elevate people who can't speak and can't get them over, and they just work. So it was sad to see them go. But AEW has recaptured what WWE did with managers back in the 80s, in my opinion. They're elevating their stars. They're doing things. They're getting involved. It's fun. It's just a whole aspect that was missing in wrestling for quite a while, in my opinion.
And you have a good mixture in AEW of heel and face managers as well. That's what I like. Like your heel manager, when you have Tully Blanchard in there, Tully's doing things to help his team win. He's doing things that a manager should.
Yeah.
A classic manager should. And
he's cheating. He's a cheating son of a bitch. It's what we all like to see out of a heel manager.
Yeah. Right. And then you have the classic white meat baby face in Arn Anderson with he's helping Cody with the playbook and everything.
Yes.
It's just fun to watch both of them in different aspects. I love it.
And the Arn one, though, it kind of that one rubs me a little wrong, because if you know the history of Andersons and Rhodes, it's like, well, yeah, why are they together? So, but it's still good. It does elevate Cody up, and then I guess that's the whole point of it. You got Taz too, Team Taz. Man, I love what Taz does. Yeah. Man, I love that whole faction, Team Taz.
Yeah.
So I think having Taz in your corner is giving confidence to Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, my opinion, is Rock 2.0. I mean, he is 100%.
He's the future. He's so good.
I love it. So I think that's the whole point, is to elevate him, and that's what AEW is doing right. I don't know why WWE's just gotten away from it. I mean, they've gotten away from it for several years now.
Yeah,
probably since, like I said, like we said, early '90s. So I don't know. It's confusing to me, honestly.
And honestly, like, you talk about Paul Heyman, and they don't even refer to him as a manager. It's like he's the advocate.
The advocate.
So they don't even want to. I don't know if managers on their band. He is
hairs at that point, but
it's just like, is that another one of Vince's things? I don't want to hear the word manager anymore.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, damn, pal.
It's so true. But like the thing with Arn that I like about I totally agree, John. Like, and a Horseman and a Rhodes working together. But the thing I do like about it, for those old school fans that know that history, it instantly makes you think, when is Arn going to stab Cody in the back?
Or when's Cody going to stab Arn in the back?
Exactly. When's it coming? Something's going to happen.
It's great for storyline possibility.
Yeah.
I guess
it really is, because Cody is such a good speaker on the mic. He doesn't need a manager.
No.
So it has to lead to something. And I would love to see Cody turn heel and just become the what everybody makes him out to be, and just take that to a whole new level and exaggerate on it.
Yeah,
like I think he would just shine in that role. Like, that would be amazing. I hope that happens.
Yeah, that's when you're going to get all of his haters jumping on the bandwagon.
100%.
The thing that I think is with managers today, AEW versus WWE, the big stark difference for me is outside of MVP. MVP is kind of an exception to the rule right now, but the thing I love about the way AEW uses managers, not only are they putting good talkers with people that maybe don't have a good promo, they're giving something for former legends to be involved in an active way. They're
real way.
They're keeping the history of pro wrestling around without making it every 5 months we have a Legends AEW where we trot out legends and have them do some sticky bullshit. With WWE, even when they venture into like managers, we get like NXT with like Malcolm Bivens, who I don't know who this guy is. Like, why not pull out some of these WWE legends that they have access to, that they have on a Legends deal, put them to work, let them talk for some of these guys. It's going to let some of these younger guys learn more stuff from these guys. I just love that they're keeping legends involved in AEW. I love that.
Yes. And to your point, so something that just hit me, a perfect opportunity I could see, put Ric Flair with the Dirty Dogs. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, you're printing money right there, honestly.
Yeah.
And then you could put maybe a heel Cesaro or something like that with him, or, of course I'd be down the road because he just turned, but something along those lines, someone that would stand out.
Yeah. The thing I always thought about was when the Hurt Business was kicking off and they had MVP, and I love MVP and he's probably better on the mic, but even to have like another advocate when they were almost doing like a pseudo Nation of Domination type vibe. Bring Mark Henry in.
Yeah.
Bring a guy like that and have him somehow attached to them. Like utilize your legends better.
And Mark Henry would probably love to come in and help the younger guys in a role like that and do something.
Oh yeah,
he loves that stuff. He loves to help the younger guys. So if they gave him a chance like that, he'd jump on it.
And even in NXT, put $1 Million Man with Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That's so entertaining.
That'd be so much fun.
I mean, he's entertaining and he doesn't really need it, but I mean,
no,
come on, man. You have the opportunity to do $1 Million Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're just adding to the character,
Exactly.
Just talking about this and going back to one of our topics last week, if the WWE just started adding in a couple of factions and a couple of managers, it would make the product, a lot better. If you don't know what's going to happen in the faction, it just adds something to it.
Right. So. You don't have to have they don't have to be mouthpieces. It could be like nice little garnish pieces, like just like boom, this nice little flavor you add to the overall package.
It instantly gives validity to that character.
Yes.
And 100%. I'll be honest, like the way that WWE handles their legends when they do like a Legends night and they bring in Mark Henry and they have Randy Orton just punk him, like it's always like they're trying, they knock their legends down. And these aren't guys. I understand if it's an older guy still in the ring and he's putting over a younger guy, that's different. But when you bring these legends back for Legends night and you kind of shit on them for several segments of the show, and then for the rest of it, they're in the back playing poker. It's like, why did you even bring them back?
Yeah.
Listen, for all intensive purposes, what they did with the Big Show at the last Legends Raw is what sent him to AEW.
I was about to mention
that was the final straw. It's like he's like, why am I going to stay here for this?
100%.
So,
also like with AEW, so good things. Going back to positive, good things. Like for instance, Jake the Snake. You got Jake the Snake just pairing, just with one person. It doesn't have to be a team or anything like that. Yep. That's so good. But what I also like what they're doing is they're kind of plant the seeds with Lance Archer and Sting. And even though you have kind of like this little background with Jake the Snake and Sting, so it's like you don't know where they're really going with that particular, because Archer's been coming out to save Sting a lot. And Darby, so and even Sting himself, he's almost becoming a manager for Darby himself as well. So it's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yep. So
again,
go ahead, Tom.
It's just properly using the legends the right way instead of having Ric Flair come in and drive the truck away at the end of it.
I mean, with WWE, what they do, they group them in groups of 3 or 4, and then they have a 10-second segment and it's over.
Yep.
Right. So.
And we have the cool thing about Jake too, talking about, keeping the legends around and keeping that history of WWE. We got to see him bring the snake out and put it on Brandy. Yeah. That was awesome for old school fans. It's like, there's the snake.
Yeah.
And they honor the legends in other ways too. I mean, you had Greg Valentine and when they had the dog collar match.
Yeah,
exactly. Just sitting in the audience watching. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was such a throwback. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
and one thing I always said, and we had always talked about it with a friend of ours that was one of our biggest wrestling fans, his name was Michael Bean. We always wanted them to give Bobby Heenan his own night while he was still around on WWE. And they just never did.
Yeah, they
never gave him his own, Bobby Heenan deserved his own night.
100%.
And never got it. So
I mean, I think probably, Bobby looked pretty rough towards the end, the last few years. Maybe maybe they didn't want to have, I hate to say this, but maybe trot him out or something like that.
Yeah, but I think this was more around the time where he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, because the last couple of years it was kind of bad. It was pretty bad.
But he had made some WrestleMania appearances and background skits. Like at that point, they could have done something. And I feel like they finally did something like with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Like that's finally honoring a legend in a decent way. But like I always thought they should have had like a tournament dedicated to a guy after they go. Like there's certain people that they could pay a proper tribute to, and they just don't do it the right way.
All right. So, any final thoughts on this topic before we move on?
I think we pretty much covered it. At least on my end.
AEW for managers.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving on to our next topic. All right, John, this is a topic that you had brought to the table, and it is: are we seeing the end of Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, I kind of started, thinking about this. Obviously, Monday Night Raw has not been good for a long time, and it's for a while. It was like, okay, well, the pandemic.
Yep.
But I kind of start to think, and when I was trying to think of something, and the way I kind of position Monday Night Raw now, and because it hasn't been good even before the pandemic. It's like once the new TV deal happened, it was like. It was bad. I kind of almost liken it to, like, let's say, we'll say, okay, I got Drew Brees, star athlete, something along the lines, and they move to a different team or they re-sign. Okay. And when that happens, typically, right before their contract's up, they're like starring, balling out on the field. And then it's like when they sign, it's like, I'm complacent. I'm good because I made my money.
Right.
That's like what Monday Night Raw is right now. It's like that athlete right now is just complacent, and it's almost like, okay, whenever the new deal is up, I don't know when it is, but I guess about 3 or 4 years or something like that, we'll probably start seeing a buildup of Monday Night Raw again, maybe. Or are we seeing it to where it's going to go to like a Peacock or another streaming service? Like, it's just, to me, it's just like, it's almost an end of an era. It's not even the C show. I put it behind Impact at this point, to be honest with you.
It's the worst wrestling show, I think, on TV.
Absolutely. It's the E show.
It's terrible.
Unwatchable. It's bad. So I don't know. It's like, it's almost, they don't care. Are we seeing the end of Monday Night Raw?
I think,
I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're onto something. I think it seems to me like Raw is a show that Vince knows people are gonna watch it no matter what, and they're complacent. They know that they're gonna pull viewers. They know that they have this hardcore base around close to 2 million. They're pulling like 1.7, 1.8 a week. But we're talking about a show we grew up on.
Right.
This was the flagship show. This was the show. And now I feel like with the Fox deal with SmackDown, Raw has taken a backseat definitely to SmackDown. It's definitely not the A show anymore.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's hard to say it's the end of Raw because Raw is just such an institution in pro wrestling. Like, it's been around so long, and the USA Network has, for the most, it's been on USA for almost the majority of its existence. I think there was a brief time when they were on TNN.
Yeah, it's like a 5-year gap or something like that.
But for the most part, USA lets them do their thing. And I don't know, man. I don't think it'll ever. It could go away. It could die. There is a possibility, man, because I think if AEW goes on to Monday nights right now.
Oh, I'd love it.
They pulled a 1.2 and Raw pulled a 1.6 at one point. So they're within striking distance. I don't want to see that happen, but I don't know, man. Raw is just dog shit to me.
No, I want to see it happen because I would love to see AEW take a chunk of Raw's viewers away and really put Vince's back against the wall and say, wow, okay, maybe this is a threat. But, going back to John's point, even before the last contract expired, that's when Vince and Triple H and Stephanie came out to the ring and said, oh, we haven't been listening to you. We're going to listen to you. And that's like 3 years ago now that they admitted that they,
right.
And they still haven't made it better. If anything, it just keeps getting worse. And it may actually be best for WWE if Raw just went away, because if they had one main show to focus on and not two brands, it just waters down the whole thing. It'd be so much better. We've said this time and time again, but it's time for the brand split to go. And if that means going to just one show, Friday Night SmackDown, I'm all in for that. I would much rather see that.
Though that's the problem. They have enough talent to have the shows they have.
Yeah,
I do think it would help if they cut the third hour out. That 3 hours.
Gosh.
Come on, man.
There's got to be at least 20 minutes each week on Raw, flashback into something that happened earlier in the night.
Right.
Yeah. It goes back to creative. It has nothing to do, obviously, with the talent. This roster that they have is the best roster they've ever had in the history of WWE. You go back to the Attitude Era. Okay, say what you will. I mean, top to bottom, there's just so much competition, and honestly, it goes back to just the simple writing. And of course, the scripted television, but even so, SmackDown is scripted, and it's still better. Like, it's still a better show. And I don't know if it's just the time or what, but it's clear to me, and this is why I kind of thought about that even if they were on the same time limits, they should have the same writing team or similar writing team that should be working just as hard. I don't get it,
Yeah. Steve, what do you think?
I don't think we're going to see the end of Monday Night Raw, but I think it will continue to get watered down. And the reason is I think eventually, Vince will sell off to a major company, and I think they're going to keep that. I think that's coming. I think they're going to keep it, and it's going to turn into something that's just so far from what we even know Monday Night Raw being. It's just going to continue to get watered down. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to go away, but I think it's going to continue to get watered down to pretty much nothing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see it going away, but I don't really see it getting better at this point. It's just a shame.
It's a shame too, because all of us fans, we hope. A lot of fans long for the day that Vince hands the reins over to Triple H.
Yeah.
We want new blood, we want young blood, but it's almost like a lot of fans think that's a foregone conclusion, that's going to eventually happen, where I think a lot of these recent moves, man, they really make me nervous for WWE. When they went public, the whole Peacock deal, the way Vince is positioning things with even like the Saudi Arabia deal, like a lot of these like chess moves he's making really makes me think this is a guy trying to leave a legacy and cash out like this big astronomical sell where he completely goes corporate, sells a WWE to like Disney, and then we're stuck with just awful cookie cutter. Because say what you want about the McMahons, it is a mom and pop business. This is a family that's ran this business for a long time. And I think the worst thing you can do, and we're seeing a little bit of that now with the creative team, the worst thing you can do is bring in a corporation that knows nothing about the pro wrestling business and have them run a pro wrestling business. That is scary to me.
Yeah. If you have Disney coming in to take over that thing, it's just going to be, all you're going to get is WWE Network and merchandise, and that's it. But I almost think that Vince just doesn't, he's just so tied up with so many different things. He just doesn't see, he's too far into the forest to see the whole picture,
right?
And that's definitely, we definitely saw that with Trash Bag Gate from a couple weeks ago, right? We had no clue, nobody had no clue this was going on, and it was like right underneath his nose,
right?
It's a guy that was 3-4 levels down from him. He was a senior management person sending trash bags to fired employees. So that just showed me he has no clue what's going on. I don't think he's out of touch. He's just got too much on his plate.
Yeah.
Yep.
But did he not know, or was that just got set up as a fall guy? Hey, listen, I'm not going to take the blame for this. Let's put.
I don't think he knew.
I don't think he knew.
Yeah.
I mean, we could hope if they do get bought out, it becomes like a UFC deal, and maybe they keep Triple H on to run it or something.
Yeah, but they're going to buy out Dana White eventually. I think they just
ownership. I think that he's already bought out. He just agreed to stay on with a salary for a certain amount of time.
Well, when they first made the purchase, though, I think he had like a 2% stake in the company.
Yes. He had a minority, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we say it all the time. Vince is out of touch. He just needs to go home and be a pawpaw.
Yeah, go be a pawpaw, man.
Yeah, he really does.
Be a pawpaw.
Go be a pawpaw, man. Hand it
Pawpaw
over.
Vince.
Yeah. You know, one thing they talked about Mark Carano, sending the trash bags. One thing I want them to investigate the title belts that he stole that he has under the bed.
I want them to make a WWE 24 on it.
Yeah. I want to know what belts he stole and what belts he's keeping under his guest bed.
Yeah.
But did you see in Chelsea Green's trash bag, she had Natalia Hart stuff in there and other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And when she called them to let them know, and they told her just to drop it off at some random person's house. And she's like, no, because these are Natalia's boots. They're not cheap. She didn't trust just going to leave it with anybody.
Right.
So, and there was a bunch of different people's stuff in there. It wasn't even her stuff. That's how funny and messed up it was.
I'm kind of with John, though. I do think there's an element of the company has gotten so big when it went public that there's a lot of the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like people where certain departments are doing things like Vince. To me, I don't know. Obviously, I'm just a fan, but growing up, I was led to believe Vince had his hands in everything.
Mm-hmm.
He oversaw everything, and now it just doesn't feel like he's as detail oriented. He has a lot of things that he passes down to people. So I don't know. I think there's not as much detail anymore.
He's definitely still a workaholic. I do know that for a fact. I mean, actually, quick story. I had a buddy of mine that works at a hotel. He was telling me a story. Vince will buy out or rent out the presidential suite, and they do this every year at the nearest hotel, but he doesn't go to it. He goes straight to the jet, boop boop boop. But just in case he wants to sleep, he'll rent it out, and that's it. But that just shows that he's just a workaholic. But I think he's got other things he's working on, like he just mentioned, Saudi Arabia deals.
Right.
India deals right now.
All the TV deals.
I think India deal. I think you're about to see, but big boom on India. We saw it with Mansoor signing this past week. Signing. I think we're going to see a big, huge, probably brawl between Mansoor and Jinder. Jinder's scheduled to come back pretty soon. So that's going to be another aspect. You're going to have India over here. Eventually once the world opens back up, Japan. He's gonna try to get in every nook and cranny in the world.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see WrestleMania on the moon before he dies.
Well, no, you're actually because they said on Main Event this week, Jinder started a new faction on Main Event, which is like nobody's tuning into, so nobody's really gonna know.
I had no clue. Yeah.
So he's back. He just filmed this week, so I don't know how long it'll take before that'll take to the main roster, but to the main shows. But he was back with I guess a team from NXT, an Indian team. So it's coming. Yeah. But I actually, to admit this, like I thought this week's episode of Raw, I don't know how many of you watched it, was actually one of the better episodes in a long time.
Really?
But with that being said, it still wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like there was I didn't mind this week's episode, but it didn't have me excited for anything. I was like, well, that wasn't bad, but like there was no meat, there was nothing to look forward to last week. My favorite thing on Raw right now, and you're gonna laugh at me, is the RK Bro.
I don't hate that.
I actually like it because I think maybe this can lead to Riddle actually becoming something and getting rid of the jokester personality in the end.
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Raw sucked for so long, though. It's going to take more than one good show to get me to really buy in again.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like it didn't have any storylines that said, "Oh, I can't wait to see it next week." It was just one decent episode. But with what they've been putting out, it's for them to put on a decent episode isn't saying much.
Apparently, you didn't see what's his name, Angel Garza stuffing a rose up Drew Gulak's ass.
Yeah.
That's literally what we saw. Yeah. So when he said that, I'm like, okay, you go stuff it up. He took it, and I knew it was coming because Corey Graves was, and this is how produced it is. Corey Graves was like, he's not. He's not going to actually do it. He was just sniffing it, and then he took it and literally threw it up his trunks, up his ass.
Oh my God.
Like, what is this like a kindergartner writing the show? Like, who is writing this crap?
Like when they had the Revival shaving each other's backs.
Oh God.
Well, you got the Revival and that's what you're doing.
My last comment before we close this out is I do like what Adnan is bringing to the commentary team. He makes it sound more like a sport than the other guys, but he hasn't been fully, brainwashed by Vince to sell the WWE product yet. So I'm sure that's not going to last.
I hate that they keep bringing another thing back to the legends. Quit bringing in these assholes that know nothing about wrestling. Bring in people that love pro wrestling and can spout the history and give us little facts. I don't need to see Adnan give us movie references. Like, come on, I don't care.
Yeah, I honestly, Corey Graves at this point could be the lead announcer on Raw, and I would be fine with it.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to our final topic of the evening. What's next for Daniel Bryan?
Ooh, baby. That news kind of blew me away this week. I don't know. I don't know like how true it is. I kind of was thinking maybe, after last week's SmackDown, he would maybe pop up at NXT, but I don't know. I mean, it seems like he has, like, I saw another interview where he's talking about how he's got neck pain and he wants to be able to put his daughter up on his shoulders to pick some kind of Japanese tree or something. But, but that's really what he said.
I saw that the Japanese maple tree.
That's right. Yes. Sorry. But I don't get into the tree aspect. But horticulture is not my expertise.
Hey, Japanese tree. That's about my knowledge as well. So,
but anyway, I don't know. It just seems like he's probably going to go to the house. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw an interview with it. I found this interesting because at first, like maybe two weeks ago, you started hearing him do interviews where he's like, I would like to wrestle in a bunch of companies, including WWE. I want to work out a contract where I can work here and other places. And I'm thinking, well, that's not going to happen, but Vince is never going to let that happen. And then he starts giving interviews where he's singing Kenny Omega's praises. And he's talking about, I think I have the quote here. He was just like blowing smoke. He says, I have a lot of respect for Kenny Omega, and it's not just the great matches he's put on. It's also the way he looks at wrestling differently than anyone else. And he went on to say the Young Bucks and how they're genius and what they've done for the business, just glowing praises for the Bucks and Omega, which I thought was weird. And then it was almost like he was teeing up what he knew was to come. And then when they did the career match against Roman Reigns on SmackDown, I'm like you, John. I was like, oh, they're just setting this up so he can go to NXT or show up on SmackDown, or not SmackDown, on Raw or something to bring the ratings up. But then the report comes out that his contract had ended before the career match. And I'm guessing it just, from what I've read, it's just ended. It's not like he has a 90-day clause. So essentially he could show up anywhere right now. But, and I've heard the things where he's like, I want a lighter schedule. I'm getting older. I don't want to be full-time anymore. And then my brain goes to, well, AEW has a very light schedule.
Yeah.
They record twice a month, especially for bigger name guys. And I mean, it really, it's hard for me to say he goes to AEW.
Then I'll say it. Bryan Danielson is all elite.
You think so?
Yeah.
No, I just read an interview on pwinsider.com, and they spoke to a couple of higher ups at AEW, and they say they believe he's already staying in WWE. So, and that's supposedly coming from some insider.
I don't believe
anything, man.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson is all elite, and it's going to happen at Double or Nothing because we have a full crowd.
That would be awesome. I would love a shock like that. I mean, and again, the idea of having AEW now, a major promotion, brings back the idea of dream matches, which we haven't had in such a long time.
And actually, I said this on a debate before when we talked about what wrestlers will show up in AEW. The first person that my pick for that was Daniel Bryan.
The big thing is his friends, his indie buddies, are in AEW. he does have matches there. To me, he's kind of reached what he can do in WWE.
Yes,
Yeah,
Main
sure.
evented
I agree.
Mania. He's wrestled everyone there is to wrestle. I wouldn't mind see him go against Omega, like things like that. Out of all those people who do you guys think shows up first? If someone were to show up on AEW, is it Daniel Bryan or Samoa Joe?
Daniel Bryan.
I think Joe. If we're picking the two, I think Joe was going to show up first. I know he's got his 90-day clause. Personally, for me, I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm gonna step back. I think Joe's going to Impact.
That's what I was going to say.
I think he's going to Slammiversary. He's gonna probably be a surprise pick there. Show up at Slammiversary, and then maybe defeat Omega at Slammiversary or something along those lines. But I think Bryan Danielson. If we're going to pick the two, I have a thought though that just kind of crossed my mind as we were talking about this. What if this whole news of this contract? Now this is a stretch, okay? This whole news of the contract being up is a work, and we start with a potentially forbidden door from WWE to AEW.
No, I see what I think is going to happen is you're going to see Daniel Bryan show up in MLW, and it's going to start a little bit of crossover there.
Yeah.
And it's going to seem like he's not in WWE, but he's working with them because there's all those rumors coming out that they're talking to MLW. So I just have a sad feeling in the end he's going to wind up back in WWE when I would love to go see him shine on his own and do. I mean, the guy organically just gets over and can win fans over. So if he's allowed to do what he wants to do in AEW, I would love to see that. But my fear is he's just because I was with Sneed when we did that debate. Who is the possibility? I really thought Daniel Bryan, it was going to jump ship at some point. I just have this fear because of the whole Bella's relationship with them.
Yep.
He's going to make so much more money by staying with WWE. I don't know if he could turn down the money. Like, I don't know. That's why he wants the contract.
He does seem like a guy that wants to do it for the love of wrestling.
That is true. He is a wrestler. He is a purist. He loves wrestling. I would love to see him fight Omega. There's some matches, some amazing matches set up for him there.
But let's not forget, man, Tony Khan has money.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does. And listen, Daniel Bryan is a guy, we could talk about Christian and the Big Show being a little older. Daniel Bryan is still, he's feeling it and he's old. He could still go in his prime, man. He could, and if he was rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. So that's the guy I would shell out the money for more than any of the other guys, even more than Samoa Joe. Like I would give if you could bring Daniel Bryan, and now you're bringing in one of their top competitors over the last 10 years, who's still going.
Honestly, if they get Daniel Bryan, I think Daniel Bryan will be the biggest. It will be bigger than Mox joining them.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
I agree.
It will be the biggest.
100%.
It will be the biggest thing they could do to draw eyes. I think. You bring in Daniel Bryan, you pop 500,000 extra a week.
It'll be bigger than CM Punk, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah,
without a doubt. Like that is you want to hype a future WWE Hall of Famer like they did with Christian. That is the pop right there.
Yeah.
So
can you
100%.
imagine the roof would be blown off the place if he appeared?
Oh, unreal. But I'm with you, Tom. I have this feeling, man. I want it to happen. It would be so interesting, so fresh, so many fun new matchups, but I just have this feeling that this is one of those things I'm going to be set up and disappointed when we see the press release. Daniel Bryan has re-signed with WWE,
and supposedly he still has the contract with Total Bellas, so I don't know how much that means to continue doing that show. So we'll see.
I mean, is that affiliated with WWE? Okay.
But I think it's one of those things. It's like Renee coming back to do the Fox show. It's also through E. She could go. I don't think it's like a complete conflict of interest.
Yeah, I think WWE is like the producer of the show, so they own part of it and pay for it. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I would love to see him show up in AEW more than anything. Like he's probably, if I could pick one guy to go over there, it would probably be him. Him and Omega. Can you imagine them having a match?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about all the time who is next for Omega. I mean, we talk about that all the time, and I mean, if it's going to be an Impact, it will be Samoa Joe. You know, if that
Yeah.
Slammiversary thing does pan out, it will be Samoa Joe. But man, Daniel Bryan's
it's a huge get.
It's a huge get to put against Omega.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean that would be like that would be just as big as Hogan going to WCW. Honestly.
At this point, yeah.
You know, like that would be your Hogan. That's your Macho Man. But that's your, but that's also at the same time your Razor Ramon and Nash, because Hogan and Macho Man, Hogan was definitely on the backside of his career, but Razor and Diesel, they were hotter than ever, and Daniel Bryan is still hot. He's not, and he could still go.
I mean, honestly, right now, the only two names, now I might be forgetting someone, but off the top of my head, the only two names that I can think of that would make the same impact or a little bigger than Daniel Bryan would be Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like who else?
Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Randy's a lifer. Randy would never, I don't think he would ever.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even think Seth or Roman would do it. And honestly, I don't even know if I'd want to see them work there.
I'd like to see Seth.
I can see Seth.
Yeah.
Tyler Black on the Indies, he would kill it.
Right. Roman, once Roman's done with WWE, he's going to the wood. He's going to Hollywood,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's his next spot
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Roman's following in the footsteps of The Rock. He's going to transition. He's going to use his popularity, go right into Hollywood.
It'll happen.
But the thing is, he's not as popular as The Rock ever was. Like the fans don't love him like they love The Rock. So, he doesn't have the charisma The Rock does. He doesn't.
He's got a look.
I don't know. I think he does have the charisma The Rock does, to be honest with you. I mean, you just take that one look, and I mean, takes that one look, and girls are screaming, and kids love him, and all that stuff.
He's taking those Jason Momoa roles.
Yep. Yeah.
He's right in that wheelhouse of Jason Momoa.
Yep. Yeah. So, go ahead, John.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. But like we were just kind of mentioning, with Daniel Bryan, if he does, I think Tom's right. I think it is going to be it's either one of two things though. I think this whole contract thing is a work. They put the news out there, or he's just going to the house. Yeah. I think that's probably what's going to end up happening.
I hope you're right, Sneed.
I hope you're right, Sneed, too.
I hope it's
like you said, he's already done everything he can do in WWE. There's nothing left for him.
Yeah,
I'll die on this hill, man. I think he's going to AEW.
I hope you're right.
It's a good hill to die on.
Yeah, man.
And I will be, I will. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be disappointed, but I will take the disappointment in hyping myself up for this one.
I hope you come back and tell us, I told you so. I want you to come back and tell us.
If I'm going to hype myself up for anybody to show up, it'll be this one, because I don't even care. I care more about Daniel Bryan showing up than I would ever care about CM Punk showing up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. At this point, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan, I know he has a passion. CM Punk, I know he has a pocketbook.
Yeah. He just wants.
What?
He said it. CM Punk has come out and said it. I'll listen to offers. I like money.
Not to say if that Living Color hits at I'd pop huge.
Of course.
I'd pop for it.
Some say the CM means C note money,
I totally can see that too, man. So, all right, guys. I think that's going to wrap us up for the evening. You guys have any final thoughts on that topic before we wrap up?
I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah. All right, John. Well, tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
On Instagram at Coming Down the Aisle, Twitter _aisle. I do have a Facebook page. Facebook's but mainly I'm on Instagram and Twitter. And show drops Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Pretty much, right after AEW, kind of like how you guys do. Not on the debate, of course, but on the regular show. And so I drop bonus shows, so you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Castbox, whatever else is out there.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again, John. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely. And if Daniel Bryan comes back, Double or Nothing, book it, baby. I'm back.
Definitely.
Yeah, we got you booked on for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always have a seat here, dude. Anytime you want to come on.
Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's
Not a problem.
It was fun having you. And in case you all missed Cody, like announcing my Twitter and Instagram this week, showing my pictures of his TNT championship. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the OG Fig Kid.
That's gonna wrap us up. I wish I had a way to mute his mic. So
it's the staple in the paperclip.
We
are the office supplies.
The office. Court is dismissed.